I grew up in the charming town of Harrow, a place so small that everyone knows each other and secrets are hard to come by. After finishing high school, I left for college, and shortly after graduating, I dove straight into the retail world. But my true passion wasn't just selling products, it was lingerie. Fueled by this passion, I worked relentlessly and eventually became the owner of a lingerie store chain, from cozy little shops to elegant boutiques. I threw myself into my work and I excelled in it. Despite my professional accomplishments, there was still something missing. That's when Harry Clark came into my life. It all started with a simple ping, an intriguing friend request from a man in a sharp suit with an even sharper gaze as his profile picture suggested. Curious, I accepted his request and soon learned he was a lawyer, which explained the impressive suit. He reached out one evening while I was engrossed in my accounts, sending a message that was simple yet intriguing. His texts quickly became filled with humor, and he had an uncanny ability to make me laugh after long, exhausting days. Our conversations ranged from lighthearted banter, like terrible pickup lines, to deeper discussions about life. His wit perfectly matched mine, and our chats became the highlight of my day. One evening, he proposed we meet for a casual coffee to put faces to our messages. Our first meeting took place at one of my favorite local cafes, known for its strong coffee. Harry was even more captivating in person than his profile had led me to believe. The connection between us was instant. We spent hours talking about everything from business to personal aspirations, and he genuinely seemed interested in everything I had to say. A year later, Harry decided it was time to take our relationship further. On a crisp evening, as I was locking up one of my stores, he appeared out of nowhere, his breath visible in the cold air. With a nervous smile, he handed me a small, elegant box. His eyes were sincere, and he hesitated before speaking, clearly unsure of how to begin. "We've been doing so well together, just the two of us. Lately, I've been thinking that maybe it's time we made our relationship official." Standing there with the store keys still in my hand, Harry, with that charming smile of his that always made my heart race, asked, "Bella, will you marry me? Let's stop beating around the bush. I want you by my side forever." My heart pounded as I stood there, overwhelmed by emotions. Marriage. Was I truly ready for this? Looking into his earnest eyes, everything felt right. "Yes," I whispered, my voice a mixture of excitement and nerves. "Yes, I'll marry you." But then, Harry's expression grew more serious. "There's something else we need to talk about," he said, and the word prenup hit me like a cold splash of water. "Really, Harry? Is that really necessary?" He quickly tried to reassure me, gripping my hands gently to calm my shaking. "Bella, it's not about trust. It's practical, especially given my career as a lawyer. I've witnessed too many difficult separations not to be cautious. It's really about protection for both of us." "What kind of protection are we talking about here?" I inquired, a blend of curiosity and worry in my voice. Harry retrieved some documents from his briefcase. "It's simple. If either of us strays, the cheater forfeits their assets to the other. It's straightforward and fair. You know I would never betray you, Bella. This is just a precaution." Taking a deep breath, I tried to absorb everything. The romantic proposal now intertwined with the reality of legal considerations. It wasn't the engagement scenario I had envisioned, but life with Harry was full of surprises, and perhaps this was just another unique chapter. Looking at the papers, then back at him, I saw his genuine earnestness. "All right, I'll consider it. But just so we're clear, Harry, I don't plan on ever giving you a reason to use this against me." "That's all I'm asking," he replied, visibly relieved. We celebrated that night at a quaint restaurant, the atmosphere perfect, the food exquisite, and Harry's charm making me momentarily forget the complexities of our conversation. As we walked under the stars later that evening, Harry drew me close. "You know I love you, right? No document can change that." I rested my head against his chest. "I know, Harry. I love you too." Let's just make sure this prenup doesn't come between us, okay? He kissed my forehead. It won't, I promise. A few days later, after consulting with my own lawyer, I signed the prenup. It felt strange to sign something so focused on the potential end of our relationship when it had barely begun. But love is a gamble, and I was all in, hopeful that my faith in Harry was well placed. We were the couple everyone admired, always sharing laughs and secret whispers at gatherings. But as the months passed, subtle changes began to emerge, a gradual chill forming between us, hinting at deeper issues yet to surface. Several weeks after our shopping trip, I found myself browsing a collection of fragrances in a perfume store, engaging in light conversation with Ethan Hayes, the sales manager, about the different scents. After we left, Harry seemed visibly upset. As we walked away from the bustling mall, he questioned me sharply, "Who is that?" Confused by his tone, I replied, "Just the sales guy." I was asking about the perfumes. "Why?" His response was curt, his eyes piercing. "You seemed really into him," he accused. "Are you serious right now?" I stopped in my tracks, shocked by his insinuation. "I was discussing perfumes, Harry. What's gotten into you?" He scoffed and shook his head, dismissing the conversation as we continued walking. "Forget it. Let's just go home." However, that incident marked the beginning of a troubling pattern. Harry grew increasingly jealous and cold, often sulking or making sarcastic remarks whenever I interacted with other men. His behavior also changed at home. He became more withdrawn, frequently buried in his laptop or phone, leaving me to dine alone most evenings. Unable to bear the growing tension, I confronted him one evening in his study. "Harry, we need to talk," I said firmly, closing his laptop to capture his attention. He let out a heavy sigh, rubbing his temples in frustration. "Bella, you don't get the pressure I'm under at work. And when I see you laughing and talking to other men, it really gets to me. It feels like you don't take our relationship seriously enough to keep your distance." The conversation quickly spiraled, filled with unspoken frustrations and hurt feelings. Things only worsened when I heard from friends that Harry had been spreading rumors about me flirting with other men. "Harry, you've been telling people I flirt with other guys behind my back," I confronted him, my anger reaching its peak. "It's not like that," he stammered, attempting to explain, though his words fell short. "I might have said something, but it's only because I see how they look at you." "I can't believe this," I cut him off, my fury intensifying. "You have no right to spread lies about me. You're supposed to support me, not tear me down." After that heated argument, the tension between us cooled, but there was still an undercurrent of unresolved issues. The next morning, I found a note from Harry on the kitchen counter, his usually neat handwriting now appearing rushed. It read, "Bella, let's try to start over. Meet me at the Grand View Hotel, room 181, at 7:10 p.m. tonight. Let's put the past behind us and move forward. M. double quote." The note caught me off guard. Maybe this was his way of trying to make amends. With a mix of unease and hope, I decided to go. The hours leading up to the evening were a blur, my thoughts consumed with the idea of starting fresh. Could we really move on from everything? As the evening drew nearer, a faint sense of hope stirred inside me, like a fragile bird tentatively testing its wings. But as soon as I stepped through the door of the hotel room, Harry's fury met me head-on. "So, the prodigal wife finally returns," he roared, his voice thick with contempt. "We need to talk, Harry. Something awful happened tonight," I pleaded, my voice shaking with urgency, trying to bridge the distance between us. But he ignored my plea. With a dramatic flourish, he threw a stack of photographs onto the table. "Then explain these," he demanded, trembling with rage. I picked up the photos. They showed me in a hotel room, caught in a compromising position with a stranger I didn't recognize. My heart sank. "Harry, I swear I don't know this man. I've never seen him before. Something strange happened tonight that I can't explain," I stammered, panic rising in my chest. His laugh, bitter and mocking, sent a chill through me. A monstrous mistake, or simply your monstrous actions? Marrying you was the real mistake, he said coldly. Tears welled in my eyes, but I held myself together, determined not to break down. I didn't do this. You have to believe me, I begged. But Harry's resolve remained unshaken. Believe you? Why should I? You're nothing but a liar and a cheater, and I'll ensure you won't get a dime from me. I'm taking this to court. I will take everything, he vowed venomously, grabbing his pre-packed suitcase and leaving with one last venomous look, slamming the door behind him. The sound echoing through the empty house. Devastated, I collapsed onto the sofa, my body racked with sobs, as a throbbing pain consumed my head, blurring my thoughts. It was more than a headache. It was as if a fog had descended over my brain, making the events of the night seem hazy and disjointed. Then it struck me. The wine. I had had just one glass, but the overwhelming dizziness and blackout were inexplicable, too severe for such a small amount. Desperate for answers, I called my friend Ray Miller, a nurse. Ray, something's wrong. I had one glass of wine, and then everything went dark. I woke up hours later, and now Harry has these photos. It doesn't make sense, I explained hastily. After a moment, Ray responded, Bella, it sounds like you might have been drugged. You need to go to a hospital or a lab and get tested immediately. Tell them everything, especially about the wine and your symptoms. I drove to the lab in a daze, my mind racing to piece together the fragments of the evening. At the lab, I relayed my ordeal to the technician who solemnly took several vials of blood for testing. Days later, a heavy letter from Harry landed with a thud on my doorstep. My hands shook as I opened it. My fears were confirmed. The letter, filled with cold, formal language, stated that Harry was suing me for infidelity, aiming to strip me of everything based on our prenuptial agreement. The trial was set for a month from now. Panicked, I called my lawyer, Jules Barnes. Bella, come to my office. We need to strategize, he said, his voice a small comfort amid the turmoil. I drove to Jules's office, my mind teeming with every possible scenario, each more daunting than the last. As I pulled into the parking lot, my resolve hardened. I had to fight back. In the familiar presence of Harry, I noticed him walking with a young man, the same individual from the photographs that had been used against me. Instinctively, I reached for my phone and began recording their interaction. I captured them exchanging an envelope which the young man quickly concealed inside his coat. A rush of adrenaline surged through me as I grasped the potential importance of what I had just recorded. At Jules' office, I shared the video. His reaction was immediate. His eyebrows raised in alarm as he watched the secretive exchange. This is significant, Bella. It looks highly suspicious. I think it's time we involve a senior investigator, Jules suggested promptly. Jules contacted his friend Wes Carter, an experienced senior investigator, who agreed to take on the case. Wes wasted no time following the young man and investigating his background. Within days, Wes summoned us to his office with an update. I've spoken to Leo Vance, the young man, Wes began, his tone grave. He revealed that he was an actor, down on his luck, hired by my husband to impersonate someone close to me. He even disclosed that my husband had orchestrated everything, including drugging me. While we were discussing this, an email notification sounded on my phone. It was the results of my recent blood test. Opening the attachment, my heart skipped a beat as I read the results. Positive for a potent sedative, confirming Wes's findings. I handed my phone to Jules, who read the results and looked up, his expression firming with determination. Bella, this is the evidence we need. Not only can we defend you with this, but we can also confront Harry effectively, he declared, suggesting we keep everything confidential until the court date to catch Harry off guard. A week had passed since the incident, and I was back at my lingerie store, trying to distract myself from the impending court date. It was a typical afternoon until Harry appeared, introducing me to Nat Price, his new fiancée. He boasted about their engagement, though his smile didn't quite reach his eyes. Nat, appearing too young and perhaps naive about Harry's true nature, looked at me with a blend of curiosity and skepticism. Harry couldn't resist provoking me, claiming he would soon take ownership of my store. Nat observed all this with growing doubt. Despite wanting to warn her, I remembered Jules's advice to remain silent until the hearing, so I simply offered a restrained smile and retorted, "We'll see what the judge decides, Harry." The court date arrived sooner than expected. The courtroom was filled with a tense atmosphere as Harry, representing himself, adjusted his tie confidently, ready to make his opening statement. "Ladies and gentlemen," he started, his voice steady and convincing, "today you will witness the true character of a woman." Harry, who stood before the court, accused his wife, Bella, of not only violating their marriage vows, but also attempting to undermine the integrity of their household with her deceitful actions. As he presented the photographs on the screen behind him, the courtroom buzzed with whispers. He claimed that Bella had betrayed her commitment to fidelity, showcasing images from a hotel room that left the audience murmuring. For several agonizing months, Harry had endured the torment of suspecting Bella's unfaithfulness. The photographic evidence now displayed confirmed his deepest fears. He paused dramatically, allowing the gravity of his revelations to impact the listeners. Approaching where I was seated, his gaze fixed on me, Harry argued that Bella portrayed herself as an innocent victim, trapped by unfortunate circumstances. However, his scathing tone and carefully chosen words painted a different picture. He argued emphatically that Bella was not a victim, but the architect of the collapse of their marriage. His performance was calculated, with strategic pauses and pointed looks at the judge, each sentence delivered with the precision of a seasoned attorney. He asserted that Bella's actions had not only damaged their marriage irreparably, but had also eroded the foundational trust that sustains any relationship. As Harry's speech reached its dramatic climax, he made a fervent appeal for justice. In stark contrast, lawyer Jules Barnes, who represented Bella, stood poised and calm, his briefcase containing the evidence that would exonerate her. With a firm and commanding voice, Jules shifted the narrative, defending Bella's honor and unveiling a pattern of deceit by her husband, Harry. As he pointed toward the back of the courtroom, Leo Vance, an actor hired by Harry, entered, causing a stir among the onlookers. Jules called the actor to testify, and with visible anxiety, the young man confessed that he had been hired for a role he initially thought was just a prank. His shaky admission added a crucial twist to the case unfolding in the courtroom. I hadn't fully grasped the seriousness of the situation until Jules solemnly presented the blood test results. These results revealed that Bella had been drugged without her knowledge, incapacitated by substances she had unknowingly consumed. The courtroom murmured in shock as the implications of the findings sank in. Jules, with a stern tone, went on to explain that this was not the first time Mr. Clark had resorted to such underhanded tactics. He meticulously laid out evidence from Harry's previous marriages, showing a clear pattern of manipulation and deceit, which had consistently benefited him financially at the expense of his ex-wives. As Jules concluded his arguments, the weight of the evidence was undeniable. He requested that the court not only dismiss the fraudulent claims against Bella, but also ensure she received fair compensation for the suffering she had endured. The judge took a moment to consider the evidence, then delivered her verdict. She sided with Bella, declaring the prenuptial agreement void. I felt a wave of relief wash over me, my eyes filling with tears, not just because of the legal victory, but because of the justice Bella had finally received. The judge awarded Bella $6,010 in damages. Harry's face drained of color, his future unraveled before him. His fiancée, who had been present in the courtroom, briefly left but returned to thank me for bringing the truth to light, then walked away from Harry for good. The trial's sensational details quickly made headlines, tarnishing Harry's professional reputation. He lost his law license, and this revelation prompted his ex-wives to file lawsuits against him, exposing a long history of deceit that left him both financially and socially ruined. As I locked up my office one evening, watching the sunset cast long shadows across the floor, I reflected on the long, grueling ordeal. It had been a difficult battle, full of moments of despair and humiliation.